I had fun studying while on it. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's no one, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from Vanse off Erowid. When this happened, 2008. The drug used, Lisdexamfetamine, at a dose of 50 milligrams. The route of administration, orally, gender, male, weight, 165 pounds, and the prior experience includes Adderall and Ritalin. So today we're going into Vyvanse, a common prescription stimulant. This is prescribed for ADHD most of the time, though not being as popular as Ritalin or Adderall. It is another option compared to the two, and it may work better if it doesn't work so well for the patient. But we'll get more into that and break down lisdexamfetamine more after the report. The report itself is a collective experience of Vanse's switch to Vyvanse and how for the most part he finds enjoyment and an increased degree of focus from it, specifically in his work and studies, what many commonly like to use a substance like this for. This report gives a good overview of some common behaviors and what it's like for someone with ADHD to be on a prescription like this. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. Vyvanse, an Adderall alternative. I have tried most things out there for ADHD, being a college student, and have a prescription for Vyvanse now. I personally think that it's one of the best to aid in any attempt to make my concentration increase. I have had Adderall, who hasn't if you have ADHD or are in college studying for final exams? And personally, I did not like the sense of being frantic while learning. Yes, it does the job it's supposed to do and keeps me on track. I had been prescribed Ritalin and Concerta as well, but I personally didn't like the way it made me feel when trying to read. When trying to read on Ritalin, I felt an overwhelming dizziness, and personally, I thought it got in the way of my learning instead of facilitating it. A friend of mine was prescribed Vyvanse earlier in the year, and I figured I would give it a shot. All I can personally say is, wow, this is one drug that allowed me to not only concentrate, but also conquer time, or so I thought. My view on it, as I am prescribed it now, is that it allows me to make learning fun as it can be. Studying or functioning on this makes for an enjoyable experience that's very hard to describe. The only way I can put it is that I had fun studying while on it. Vyvanse made it fun to learn about all the things that I was dreading putting myself through. Please don't get me wrong when I say it is fun, because it's not a trip. I can still function normally and do everything that I need to do, but it gives me an extra oomph in everything that I do. For example, in the working environment, it provides a few benefits. It provides the awareness and fully awakeness, that isn't a word I know, during the day and allows me to get my work done. I stay on task and do not need a break from what I am doing or wander off task. It makes doing the meaningless work that I am required to get done less work and more play, I guess. I can almost compare it to when I get a new video game that I've been waiting to play for quite some time and sit down to play it for a while. That feeling is the same feeling that I get when I am doing an English paper or trying to get through my entire economics textbook a few days before the final, but I will get to that later. When I'm looking forward to doing something academic, Vyvanse makes me want to do it, something that I have not found with Adderall or Concerta. The experience that I get when I am on it is almost like Adderall in the way that it makes me work faster and allows me to pay close attention to detail. There are not the same drawbacks, however, of getting the racing heart or the agitation. At school, I work at a phone bank where we call alumni for donations and such. And one thing I found very useful is the fact that it makes me very friendly and outgoing. My friend said that he did not experience this, but he also isn't that kind of person. I'm a pretty friendly and outgoing person, but I think that this just enhanced it more than what I would normally be. It makes the time go by very quickly, and the 3-hour shifts that I work of just calling people from a computer go by very quickly. Time seems to fly while on Vyvanse, but not in a bad way. I pick my head up to stretch or something, and I will notice that an hour or two has gone by, but I quickly realize how much work I have gotten done over the amount of time that I have been working. This is where I get the idea that I can conquer time. because the work I don't want to do doesn't seem like a chore anymore. In the recreational department, it allows for some good sessions of video games, reading, working out, and even cleaning. The only drawback I can see when taking Vyvanse is that it overwhelms me with the feeling that I should be getting something done. However, that is easily trumped by anything shy of staring at the wall. Like I said earlier, even cleaning my room gives me a sense of accomplishment that's comparable to sitting down with a new video game for the first time. Certain things that I enjoy while doing on Vyvanse would have to be work, obviously, studying, reading, cleaning, working out, and generally being productive. Without a doubt, one of my favorite things is coloring. I cannot quite put my finger on why, but I think it has something to do with paying attention to the detail of getting everything in lines, coupled with the feeling of watching something come together, as well as the huge sense of accomplishment once it's done. All in all, I have to say from personal experience that this is a much better alternative to Adderall, because it takes care of the one thing Adderall does not, which is the craving to learn. I get a more profound satisfaction from the work that I do, and it does not turn me into a zombie. I take 50 milligrams daily. It's time released and has to be ingested for the medication to take effect. If taken regularly in the capsule, it will last for roughly 10 hours. The 50 milligram dosage is equivalent to a 72 milligram dosage of Ritalin or Concerta. Vyvanse is offered in as little as a 10 milligram dose all the way up to 70 milligrams. Okay, so Lisdexamfetamine, or Vyvanse. This report shows a common occurrence with this kind of pharmaceutical, the use of it for getting work done or being productive. You probably at least heard of Adderall and how students start taking some when it's time for exams and whatnot. Given that Adderall, along here with Vyvanse, and other common ones like Ritalin, are stimulants, they have the impact to give one a push in a sense to get focused and get stuff done. But let's break down the substance and see how it works a bit. So Vyvanse itself is considered a prodrug when compared to Adderall. Adderall itself is typically composed of both amphetamine and dextroamphetamine. We'll be focusing on the dextroamphetamine portion because Vyvanse is actually formed by altering the form of dextroamphetamine. In fact, many claim that the effects of Vyvanse is pretty much the same when compared to dextroamphetamine, which would make sense because when you take Vyvanse, the body will metabolize it into dextroamphetamine. The main difference with Vyvanse is how long it takes/lasts, and 2, the route of administration. Now compared to your Adderall or Ritalin, Vyvanse will last much longer, upwards to 10, 12, or even 14 hours. Now the reason this is because Vyvanse was designed to be metabolized with a rate limit. If a substance is rate limited, then that means a catalyst is necessary to happen for the substance to be effective. In other words, our bodies can convert the substance only so much and only so fast. Which, ideally, this leads to less abuse of it, as if you were to take more, it most likely would just cause the feelings to last longer, not get any stronger. And when we look at the route of administration, you'll find that Vyvanse should only be taken orally. Now, not to say that you can't snort Vyvanse or do it through some other route, but ideally, you'd get the most out of Vyvanse orally. Now, it is converted through the stomach to dextroamphetamine for the most part. Not to say it won't in other places by blood cells, but a majority of the substance will find conversion here. And looking at snorting or something else, there just wouldn't be very much benefits to do so. It may hit slightly faster, but many claim it comes on about the same. It still has to be metabolized in a similar way. It definitely isn't any stronger by any means, and plus the way the Vyvanse is made, it isn't something you want to put up your nose or anything else really. There are usually fillers and prescription stimulants to help prevent this kind of behavior, but those heavily invested may ignore this fact. Of course until damage occurs, that is. And lisdexamfetamine itself probably isn't good on the nasal cavities, or whatever ROA you choose. Oral ingestion is the safest way to go with this. And that can be pretty much said with just about all prescription stimulants. But yeah, that's pretty much Vyvanse simplified. It's pretty much like an extended release form of Adderall. And if you don't really know what prescription stimulants like this do, the effects typically will include physical and mental stimulation, dehydration, feelings of increased focus. You can get a high-like feeling that provides euphoria. There can be music enhancement. Sweating may happen. Loss of appetite. Heart rate and blood pressure can increase. Time can feel like it's flying by. There may be an increased sex drive. There have been reports where people get more egotistical from taking prescription stimulants, or it can provide you with some irritation. Basically, if you can think of any stimulating quality, good or bad, Vyvanse would be capable of bringing it. This includes effects on the deep end too, like when you overdose or use it for a long time, you most likely will experience stim psychosis to a degree. There is a risk for addiction to set in. If you find that prescription stimulants are your thing, then Vyvanse fits that category and would be something to be cautious about. But other than that, I think we will leave it there for today. This was a solid introduction on the substance, and there will be more to come. So if you want to see more on prescription stimulants or anything else at all, let me know in the comments below and we can do that. If you have your own report, email me, NoOneSubmitReport@gmail.com. If you can, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials, share the video. It's been someone that's no one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.